So when Landon was about 3 or 4 years old, he came into my bedroom one morning while I was still sleeping. And this is not an uncommon experience for them at the time. When Landon and Sadie were littler, they loved to crawl in bed. They would wake up, I'd still be sleeping. They'd love to come and crawl up in bed with me in the morning. And they liked to wake me up. Landon one time came into my room with a shoe in his hand, and I'm sleeping, and he said, "Wake up, Daddy!" One morning, Sadie came into my bedroom, had not ever spoken much other than, Mom, 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 Dad, 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 Dad. And she came in and she stood right next to me, laying in the bed, looked me right in the eyes. I think she just sat there and stared at me until I opened my eyes, looked me right in the eyes, and she said, "I want up." I'd never spoken a real word before. She said, "I want up." I said, "Did you just say I want up?" She said, "Uh-huh." And then I don't think she spoke again for another month. Now we can't get her to be quiet. But this particular morning, Landon crawls in bed with me. Marilyn had already gotten up for the day like she normally does, and she was getting ready. And I was in bed because I'm lazy. It was Saturday. So here's Landon and I laying in bed, and Landon lets out a big sigh. About 4 years old, man, what could be on a 4-year-old's mind that would draw a big sigh like that? And I don't say anything. And we lie there for a few more minutes, and a big sigh again. And obviously he's trying to get me to bite on something, but I, being the wonderful dad I am, want to see how long he'll try. So after a few minutes, Landon rolls over and looks at me and he says, "Daddy, sometimes it's just too hard to be good." Sometimes it's just too hard to be good. Now, Landon's a really good kid. Teachers love him at school. I always have teachers telling us, "I wish we could clone Landon," And a lot of times he will have been so good at school, and he comes home and he just lets it all break loose. Sometimes it's just too hard to be good. That's not really what the story about Landon is all about. Landon wanted to tell me something. And he just couldn't get it out. He could get out, sometimes it's just too hard to be good, but that's as far as he could go. I could tell there was more. Like maybe he wanted to confess something, but just couldn't make himself do it. We've all been there. Maybe that cute girl or guy across the room when you were younger that you really wanted to go talk to. You just couldn't make yourself do it. Maybe it's that time you wanted to confess something to mom or dad or a significant other or a friend. We've all had that time when we wanted to speak, but we just couldn't muster up the courage to get the words out. We're embarrassed. We're scared. Whatever it is, we just couldn't do it. And so we have Nicodemus today. Here comes Nicodemus under the cover of night, our scriptures say. It's dark. And he wants to ask Jesus a question. Let's look at his story. Nicodemus was a religious man. He clearly knew his scriptures by heart and the Torah by memorization. In John's Gospel, he is referred to not just as a teacher, but as the teacher. He's important enough to have "the" in front of his name, which points to his religious preeminence. If anyone knew the truth about God and God's people, surely it would be this man. Yet for all he knew religiously, I think we can tell in this story he knows there's something missing. Nicodemus was a powerful person. We were told that he was a ruler of the Jews. He was a member of the powerful Sanhedrin. He was a man of pedigree. He came from the right family. You see, you don't just become a powerful Jewish lawyer unless you are pedigree. You can't just work yourself up into that position. It's not like our country. There's only one way to get it. You're born into it. The Interpreter's Dictionary of the Bible says that Nicodemus was a very rich man. So there's a reason why Nicodemus comes to Jesus by night. He skulks in the darkness because he does not want to be seen yet with the Nazarene. Nicodemus is drawn to him. He's curious, yet for all of his interest in Jesus, he's still got pedigree. He's got dignity. It's easy to become preoccupied with preserving your privilege. So here's this man, Nicodemus, powerful, educated, looked up to, and he comes sneaking up to Jesus in the middle of the night. And despite all of these things that he knows, and all of the status that he holds, he begins to ask questions. And Jesus begins by answering with a statement that we simply let slide far too often. Jesus says, Nicodemus, you must be born again. Born again. It's a phrase that's pretty common to us today. So common that it just slips through with all the other religious language. Sanctification, redemption, grace, born again. It all just kind of rolls off the tongue together. Many sermons have been preached with the idea of being born again as the central theme, and many more will come, I'm sure. But I want to focus on something else today in this story. And that is the fact that Nicodemus, with all this stuff that he carries with him, had the courage to ask the questions. So many times we want to have risk, but we want to have risk without failure. Wouldn't that be nice? We can have risk, we can try anything we want to, with some sort of safeguard that we're not going to stub our toe or fall down. Nicodemus has a lot to lose. Ruler of the Jews is asking Jesus honest questions. Not a question to try to trip him up so that Jesus would get in trouble. They did a lot of that throughout our New Testament. Trying to ask Jesus questions that he couldn't answer either way without getting mad at him. This was an honest question. These are important to Nicodemus, and he doesn't want to let the opportunity go by. Nicodemus knew there was something he didn't quite yet get, and he knew there was something about Jesus that would provide the answer. He says, Rabbi, we know you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do apart from the presence of God. Jesus, there's something different about you. He says, I know it. The man couldn't verbalize what he wanted to tell him that day. He couldn't get up the courage to get it out. Can you? Courage is a hard thing for some of us to muster up sometimes. Some people just have that ability, don't they? To seem like they'll do anything at any time. Think of your circle of friends throughout your life. You always had that one crazy friend who seemed to not have any inhibitions, and y'all are looking at each other. Which one of you is the crazy friend? Now you're pointing at each other. Right? You always had that one person that no matter what it is, if you're laughing, you're like, oh, we should go do this, and you're all like, oh no, that one crazy friend was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. That's not me. That's my friend Chris. Sid met him this week at conference. He's the new pastor coming in at Frederick, so y'all will get a chance to meet him too. But I like to put that appearance on, that I'm willing and ready to jump at anything, to have fun at anything. The truth is, I'm scared to death to do some things. The truth is, I'm scared to death to talk to people sometimes. I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? I have to really work on suppressing that little feeling in the pit of my stomach. You guys have that? When you're about to do something, that little feeling that's like, some people call that reason. I could be scared to death, but I like to put on a good show. One time I went to Dallas with some friends, just on a whim. And they were both some of those, yeah, let's do it kind of people. And we're driving down I-35 coming into Dallas, and on the right-hand side was a place where you could go bungee jumping. And I'm in the car, and they say, let's go bungee jumping. Well, I don't want to look weak. So I say, yeah, let's go bungee jumping. So we pull off the side of the road. We pull over there inside. I'm thinking, please be like $150. Because we're college students, and we can't afford to do that. We pull up there, and I don't remember what it was, but it was reasonable. So we're like, yeah, let's go do it. We crawl up on a 7-story tower. Yeah! And they got us all harnessed in, and we do paper, rock, scissors. See who goes first. Guess who won? So, you know, I'm like 19 years old. I'm going to do this. Inside my stomach was just like... And I come up to the edge, and I'm thinking, I got to just get this over with. They said, we're going to count to 3, and then you got to jump. And so the guy says, 1, 2, and I jump. Like, I can't even do 1, 2, 3. And it was awesome. It was great. I would probably break my back if I tried to do it today, but outside I put on this appearance. I thought I had to keep up. I had to be macho. I had to be strong, courageous. And inside, man, that pit of my stomach thing, it was from head to toe. Let me ask you a question this morning. What are you searching for, like Nicodemus? We all carry our own list of reasons why we can't ask the questions. I'm too educated. If I start asking questions, people will look at me different. I'm too old to start asking questions now. I've been a Christian so long, I should already know it all. And if I ask questions, people are going to think. Maybe for you it's not a question. Maybe it's a response. Maybe God is working on your heart and you're afraid to answer. You're afraid it'll change your life. It'll make you a new creation. What are you searching? Why are you here today? There must be something about this Jesus that's drawing you here, much like Nicodemus was drawn by Jesus. So I invite you this morning. Search your heart. Listen to God's voice. And may you have the courage to respond or ask the question. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.